It could be a bit different there. I let myself be a little more open to just kind of get to know people and really be honest with myself. Like, hey, I'm new here. I don't really know anything. I'm kind of an adult baby. Show me around. Like,
Oh, is that what was on your dating profile?
in adult sized diapers, yes. There's probably a bar for that somewhere in Bangkok.
Hello, I am Kay Anderson, and you are listening to Lost Spaces, the podcast that mourns the death of queer nightlife. Every episode, I talk to a different person about a venue from their past, the memories that they created whilst they were there, and the people that they used to know. So, moving to another country, I think that it is one of the bravest things you can do to just pick up your life and then plunk it back down in a brand new place. And I have such deep admiration for anyone who can do it. I think that putting yourself in that position really helps you to figure out who you are without all the comfort and the familiarity that you have back at home. And that is my totally elaborate way of introducing you to this week's guest, Ben, who left the US in the 2010s to start life again in Bangkok, Thailand, as a language teacher. And he ended up spending 9 years there before moving back to the US recently. And in that time that he was there, he went through this wonderful learning curve that was backdropped by the city's queer scene, which is what we're going to find out a bit more about today. He was kind enough to sit down with us and share a few of his stories from his 9 years there, which includes navigating the dating scene, going googly-eyed for one or two or several menses, and then eventually meeting the love of his life. Aww, isn't that sweet? Why don't we find out some more?
The story actually starts in New York. I went to New York about 10 years ago because they were opening up a German language preschool. And I teach German, and that's what I do. So I moved to New York for that, and it never really worked out. When you're opening up a preschool, there's a lot of legalities that needs inspected, like child services has to come, and safety, and the fire department. So it just kind of kept getting pushed back and back and back. And meanwhile, I was like 23, no income, living in probably like one of the most expensive cities in the US. It was bad. I was living in a basement in Jersey. All I saw was people's feet walking past. You know, if you're watching a cool show like Sex and the City, if you look down at like sidewalk level, there's rated windows by the garbage cans. That's the room I lived in. Mm-hmm. So,
and the garbage smell as well, or just the feet?
Yeah, the garbage smell. And there was no air conditioning either. Ooh. So it was like baking in the sun. It was awful. The only good part was I could walk to the Hudson River and look at Manhattan. It was like a 10-minute walk. That was the good part. But so I applied for other jobs while I was there because it was clear that was not really working out immediately. And just for fun, I applied internationally. I also got a job offer from Saudi Arabia, not known for its gay nightlife, incidentally. So I did not go and did a total 180 and found this job in Bangkok. And I went there and it was amazing. I stayed for 9 years. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, a long time.
So what happened when you arrived? What did that feel like those first few days?
It was such a shock. And it wasn't even necessarily the loudness or the crowdedness because, like I said, I'd been in New York City right before.
Well, you'd been in Jersey.
Jersey, the ugly sister of New York. I was in spitting distance of Manhattan. It wasn't that bad.
And so how long before you dipped your toe into queer nightlife?
I went the first night.
Oh, okay, all right. So you weren't like, let me acclimatize. You were like, I'm going out.
I'm jet lagged anyways. I knew one Thai guy before. He was studying to get a master's in my hometown, and we were friends. So he had moved back to Thailand by that point, and he picked me up, not at the airport, but he met me at my hotel later that day, and he had a car. That was also wild, like Bangkok traffic. So we go out, he gets me like a SIM card so I could use my phone, some food to put in my fridge the first couple of days, kind of like gave me like a little lifeline assist, which was,
Aw.
it was worth so much. Yeah. Fun fact, he raises and breeds huskies.
Oh, wow.
I know his air conditioning bill must be crazy because he's got a dog designed for like Alaska in Thailand. But yeah, so that really helped me out. And that first night, he was like, "Hey, I have some friends going to a bar tonight. I'm not going, but do you want to go and meet them? It's a good way to just kind of jump into it." And I was like, "Sure, why not?" I wasn't working yet. I came about a week before I had to start working, so I had time. So I went. I went to a place called Soy 2. Soy in Thai just means like an alleyway. And Soy 2 and Soy 4 are two little alleyways in Bangkok that are most famous for having a lot of queer nightlife.
Oh, okay.
So I went to one bar. His friends were there, met them, and it was just a slippery slope after that. All downhill from there.
So being at Soy 2, like what are your first memories? Talk me through as though you've just walked through the front door.
Yes, yes. So you walk in, and it's this narrow alleyway, but covered in, kind of like an arcade. There's a roof, and you can practically like stretch your arms out and hit each side of the wall. And on each side, there's a couple different venues, and they're not really like distinct bars. They have little doors inside. You can walk from one to the other inside. They all have the same owner. It's supposedly owned by like a really rich, like Chinese Thai family.
Well, so it's all one bar, but it's not one bar.
Right, which is very Thailand. Like, makes sense, but doesn't. So it's all one bar, but not. And they each have different kind of activities. Like, one bar would have Thai singers singing just songs in Thai, like drag queens. And that was one bar. You would mostly just kind of sit and watch the show. There was another one that was like a more traditional dance club. That's the only one that a lot of foreigners went to, I would say. It's called DJ Station. Whenever they came up with that. And then there's like the rest is 3 or 4 other bars where you just kind of hang out. Some have music, some don't.
And they're like
Yeah.
they're all interconnected.
They're all interconnected. The whole space is maybe like 40 meters long, kind of, and there's like 8 bars in it. Almost like a bunch of pop-up bars, kind of.
wow.
Yeah. And from the club at the end, DJ Station, the one I would say is the most like a club, like what we might think of, its music would kind of waft out to the other ones up front. But also like during the day, there's like massage shops and like restaurants in there that close down at night. Like it's,
Ramshackle.
yeah, very, very.
Oh, well, that sounds really exciting to me. I love the idea of
Yeah.
being like, oh, this is boring. Let's go
You can
next
really
door.
like explore. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But so like you.
Yes.
So what was your response to this space?
It was so new. It was also a weekday afternoon. There weren't a lot of other foreigners there at that point. It was like me and like 3 Thai guys. One of them was like super hot, totally like fell in love with him instantly.
Oh, great.
Hung out with them all night. It was a lovely way to start, basically. And like they were really friendly. I was starting to learn a couple Thai words in that very cute, like, "Ooh, look at me, I'm new here" way.
Well, and so should we talk a bit about your crush on this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, we should. He's the first person I liked there.
Well, you'd only been there like 3 hours.
Right. So, I mean, in the hours I'd been there, between like unpacking my bag and going out to the bar, yes. Apparently, he was a Navy captain. I think it just adds to the hotness level. He spoke English really well. We kind of dated, went to the movies, stuff like that for a little bit. Didn't work out. Was late to work the first day because of him. Yeah. I showed up like halfway through like the orientation tour.
Oh, shit.
I blamed it on traffic. So
So I know that this world of falling in love with people instantaneously is all behind you now that you're married.
exactly.
But at this time, what was your approach to crushes? Did you just fall in love every day?
Not necessarily. I think it was because of the situation and the context. Like I was brand new somewhere, didn't know the culture or the language, had never been there, away from everyone I knew. So getting this person who was really interesting and spending time with me in a new situation, it just kind of like made it really easy to click with someone, and also in my mind to probably get like more attached than I should be. Like when I was brand new there, I needed like an anchor, something to hold me down and get me like oriented. So that was him. He was the anchor.
Ah. And do you think that's what it was?
I think so, but I mean, I genuinely liked him too. But it's almost like a fight or flight response. You're like, I'm in this new place, totally different, on the other side of the world. It's a 12-hour time difference.
Yeah.
So I needed it. It's like you lose a bit of your sense of independence in a way. You realize how much you depend on other people in some instances.
Ah, because
Hmm.
see, I always think of it as though. So I'm one of those people that whenever I go away on holiday, I come back and I'm like, oh yeah, that's my Turkish boyfriend, or yeah, that's my Belgian boyfriend, or oh yeah, that's my Swiss boyfriend. Because I just meet someone.
Like a little Rolodex of men.
Yeah, yeah, just like who can I go and stay with next time I go? But I always just think that it's because I'm more relaxed and more open when I'm in that foreign environment
Mhm.
rather than it's me needing them. And I know you didn't use the word need, but
But I did in a way. I think that's the caveat, though. I knew I would be living there. So it's like, okay, I'm here for the long term. Who am I
mhm.
going to hang out next week? And I'm just going to be sitting in my scary furnished apartment in this neighborhood with roosters and dogs on the street by myself. Like,
Sounds good to me. Yeah, but then you've got to straddle that line, right? Because you want them to know that you want to
Mhm.
spend time with them, but you don't want to come off desperate. So, how do you do that?
um, It is. I think in a way though, I was saved a little bit. I kind of had like newcomer's grace, and I was different. I was obviously not local, not Thai. So that was one of the pleasant things that I found was a bit different. You can operate in dating and social situations a little differently than what I was used to in the US, where it was like, don't show anyone interest, super unavailable, I'm an
Neg
emotional
them.
rock. It could be a bit different there. I let myself be a little more open to just kind of get to know people and really be honest with myself. Like, hey, I'm new here. I don't really know anything. I'm kind of an adult baby. Show me around. Like,
Oh, is that what was on your dating profile?
in adult sized diapers, yes. There's probably a bar for that somewhere in Bangkok.
Well, imagine working there. But by the sounds of things, it didn't work out with this guy.
No, it really didn't. Maybe that's what he was thinking too. He just kind of swept in for the moment. Maybe his friend asked him to go. Like, it was a long act to hold up if that's what he was doing. Like, hey, do this for this guy I know. Can you hang out with him and maybe kind of date him for a little bit? So this is the real kicker. That first year, I would go home once a year in the summers to, see my family at home
Mhm.
and friends. So I went back to the US the first summer, and this guy, Navy captain, was like, "Can you get me?" He wanted a watch. I forget which brand. It wasn't something insane like a Rolex, but it was something that cost at least $200 or so. And I was
Mhm.
like, sure. Little like hearts popping out of my eyes. So I get this watch. I come back to Thailand after the home trip, give him the watch over dinner some night, and he gives me like the equivalent of like $30. He still owes me like over $150 on this watch. And I didn't like him enough to just get him the watch. It was his idea. So he's like, we'll meet again in like a week and I'll get you the rest. So, you know what happened? We did not meet. He never called me again. I ugly cried. And now he has a really
Oh.
nice watch. But now I have a story.
Oh no.
I know, it was shit. But that was rare. Most of the people I met were super lovely, amazing, friendly.
We're not
Um,
here for the good, warm-hearted stories, right? We
yeah,
want the tragedy.
it was tragic.
But, so then going back to this thing before about
Mhm.
crushing and falling in love, if I were to ask you to guess how many men you fell in love with whilst you were there, so 9 years, how many?
Oh, an embarrassing number. Maybe like dozens and dozens, maybe.
Dozens and that's a very specific number. Thank you. Yes.
I mean, if you include everything from like just going on a casual date to even like a boyfriend, maybe like 100. guys or so.
What, that you fell
Spaced out
for?
over 9 years, that's not bad. Oh, I have to fall for these people? Oh,
Yeah. So I'm not saying
okay.
like people that you dated. I'm saying like, when you fell, when you were like, oh, googly
I
eyes.
had, I think, six boyfriends there.
Uh,
No, it was like seven or eight guys. Two of them I dated for multiple years each towards the
yeah.
end of my time. The first 2 years I was single, which was frustrating. So I was like, I'm special and exotic here. Why am I single for 2 years? And then it was like four or five guys in like a 2 year succession in the middle. So it was like nothing, then a lot, and then finally the serious ones at the end, which I think reflects like my attitude too. Like, let's meet everyone, go out all the time. Okay, let's clean up our act a little bit, and then okay, now I'm like wifed up. So
But so in that first 2 years, was it like mission get a boyfriend, or was it mission let's be friendly with lots of strangers?
I think it was let's be friendly with strangers. But what I would see around me is a lot of other expats and foreigners seemingly easily finding relationships or already having been in relationships, and me wondering why it wasn't happening for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's a
It
spiraling.
is, and that can get
Yeah.
you anywhere. That I mean, it was that way at home too. You always look around at your circle, or even just
Hmm.
walking down the street, other people holding hands. Like, why don't I have that? Am I not hot? Before I went, people were like, "Oh, I bet it'll be so easy for you when you get there because you look different, and you're
Hmm.
like this American guy, you're a foreigner. It'll be so nice for you. You'll have an amazing time. It'll be like a playground." I was like, "All right, you know." What people should say is it's easy to hook up, kind of easy to make friends if you're just even moderately friendly, which I like to think I am, and make an effort to like meet local people. But dating is really, really hard because dating, then you get into cultural differences because now you're talking about, all right, you're
Mm.
this person, maybe you're moving into my apartment and now we're together all day, every day. That's when all of the things that wouldn't come up in a casual relationship do come
Yeah.
up. Like, what kind of food are we cooking? When are we seeing my mom in her village? What do I bring
Hmm.
to meet your mother in a rice village? Like, there's a lot going on. And language and jokes and work schedules that comes up in a relationship. Relationships were really tough there. I think that's why I had a bunch of boyfriends because I would realize after a while, oh, this is really tricky. Maybe it's too much work for me or not working for me or the other person.
But dating then, were you just in a hurry?
Um, I think I was in a hurry because I felt like starting from nothing. Okay, now I need everything. I need lots of friends right away. And I want to have lots of options of people to call on the weekends to go meet up with. And if I don't, then I must be doing something wrong or I'll be
Mm.
lonely here in this place far away from home.
Hmm.
I think there was a bit of that. And also, like, just interest and curiosity. I want to see every bar and every park and museum and gallery and neighborhood. And like, Bangkok has tons of canals. You can go on canal boat tours. I took a boat to get home from work every day for 9 years. Like, a canal boat. Like, who takes a boat home? That was so cool.
Ah.
So there's a sense to want to hurry up and see everything. That's also my personality. I feel like I have to cover everything 100% before I move on. Um,
This thing about being in a hurry to make friends and to make connections and for things to feel like normal or like you belong, it can really fuck with your head and make you make bad
mhm.
judgment calls.
I think so too. I made a really bad judgment call once. I was roofied. Want to hear that story?
Oh gosh. What happened?
Oh, it was bad. Speaking of moving too fast, so I was in this soy too, this alleyway with the bars and clubs and stuff. And at that point, I had a really good friend who would go out with me almost every weekend.
Hmm.
So we were at this club. It was really late at night. We were leaving. We step out, and my friend at the last moment was like, "Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to go run back into the bar and say bye to a friend. I'll be back out in a couple of minutes." I said, "Okay, I'll stand here and wait for you." And during that time, a man came up and approached me who I didn't know and was like really kind of flirtatious and like, "Ooh, let's go back to your place. Let's party. Let's hang out. Let's keep it going." And I was like, "No, I'm waiting for my friend. I can't, sorry." And I think he roofied me because at some point I did then get into the taxi cab. And also something about Bangkok, if you're right at the front of like a busy area with bars and clubs and nightlife, the taxi drivers always want a cut of something extra. Like they'll rip you off, they won't turn the meter on, something crazy like that. I would always walk a block up or down the street in some other direction to catch the ones that are driving and like hail them on the street. So,
Okay.
anyways, that was the first weird thing. This taxi driver was like, "Come on in." So I think he was working together with the guy who roofied
Oh
me.
gosh.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's like a pyramid scheme thing. So we get in this taxi. I remember texting my friend, "Hey, sorry I left. I'm going back to my place. I'll just see you next time." And then the taxi parked on the street and kicked us out instead of going into the driveway where they would have to go past the security guard. I think that was another red flag because like they didn't want to hand over their ID or have like on camera the license plate of the taxi.
Uh-huh.
So we go into my condo, and usually when I've been out drinking or hanging out partying and I come home, I just go to sleep. That's it. I don't like keep drinking at home. So I don't remember anything else until I woke up the next morning, and like all my clothes were still on, my jeans, shirt, watch, everything. Well, not watch. And I always wake up to an alarm clock, even on the weekends. That's how I know retentive I am. But I felt around. I was like, oh, no phone. That's weird. And then I get up. I was like, wait, I'm totally dressed. I never sleep with all my clothes on, especially if it was a good night. And then I walk around my apartment. The door was open. My book bag was gone. My computer was gone. When you get roofied, it total brain wipe. You don't remember a
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even like being drunk where you're just inebriated and everything's kind of moving slow, but you can still kind of piece together things. I don't remember anything. So that's when I finally realized, oh gosh, shit, I had gone home and this guy was in my apartment. So that's probably what he did. He either made me a drink at the bar and it kind of settled in, or at my place. I don't know, because there's also a liquor bottle like open and leaking all over the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So, and apparently that's very common. That happened to several other people I know in Bangkok at that
Shit.
time, that they would be approached by someone that wants to go back to your place and drink more and hang out, and then they'll make you a drink and you pass out at some point and they just do a clean sweep. And I was very new in Bangkok then. I had like one paycheck hit my account from my job. So this is the other dumb thing. This is my fault. My PIN code for my ATM card was the same as my phone unlock. So figure how many times a night at a bar do you take out your phone and
Yeah.
unlock it? So I think this guy, and I think he was like a predator. He was professional. He had done this many times before. I think he had looked at me at the bar and kind of looked over my shoulder to see what I was doing. So he probably remembered my PIN code. Dumb me, that was also my ATM code. So that's my
Yeah.
fault. But he wiped out my account. I had to like beg friends for money to
Oh,
like eat dinner and lunch for a couple of weeks. I asked for an advance at work too. It was bad.
but so, okay, so first of all, that waking up and the moments of realization, what did that feel like?
You feel so violated because, knock on wood, I've never been mugged on the street,
Mm-hmm.
but that's out in public. Having something like that happen in your home, your safe space where you live, your private area, that was so jarring. I felt like I couldn't trust anyone then again for a long time. And so, I mean, it wisened me up. It never happened again. I never did something like that again. But it was awful. I was depressed. I started to second guess that I had moved there.
Mm,
And then eventually those feelings passed. And that's also when I found out who my real friends were, people that would come and help and offer assistance and things.
shit.
It was rough. But I did get back on my feet again.
But what was it like going out again?
It was kind of traumatic for a while because I would go out, I would be like looking everywhere, I would be like double and triple checking before I go anywhere. I'd like walk around, like cover my drink. I was
Mm-hmm.
even suspicious of friends. I was like, because other friends would be like, hey, isn't it kind of weird that your one friend had to like go run into the club for a moment just before you're gonna leave? I was like, like it plants uncomfortable ideas in your head. And like I was saying, a lot of the second guessing and doubting, which luckily in the end, I don't think I had a reason to do any of that. But it took a while to trust people again. I didn't date for like half a
Mm-hmm.
year.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's that thing like anyone who semi kind of resembles him
Hmm.
or what your memory says he looks like, you would just be like, ah, is that him? Is
Yeah.
that him? You know?
Yeah, I remember I had printed off some pictures of the still from the security camera footage, and I was so angry too.
Yeah, of
I was thinking
course.
of going back to like the front of that alleyway, the entrance to all these bars and clubs, and show it to the bar owners and like post up a bunch of ones, just like watch out for this like
Mm-hmm.
asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends were like, no, no. It's sad that it happened, but you're not gonna like catch them.
Oh,
These people, they often work in big complicated hierarchical groups. He's one small part of a big cog. You're not going to bring it down. You just got to be more careful. So I let it go,
oh, oh, that's
but
annoying, isn't it?
it is.
I mean, I know they're right, but it's like,
Yeah.
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 Okay, well, let's not focus on that too much. Let's go
Yes,
back
there are
to
other
like
happier
all the
things. Yeah.
good bits about nightlife. So, what was
Yeah.
your favorite club?
Oh, my favorite. I took notes. I had a bunch of bars I like, but let's narrow it down. So I'd say there were like two bars that I really liked, and they were totally different. One was called Telephone Bar, and that has a little fun backstory too. So we've been talking so far about Soy 2, this little alleyway number 2.
Mhm.
There's another alleyway, Soy 4, just down the street, and it's a different experience as well. It's also queer bars, but it's more like sit down bars. There aren't any clubs there, I would say. And it's a real hodgepodge. In this alleyway, you've got a couple restaurants, so there's also other things to do there. Like you can have a meal, for example. Although Thai people eat at bars too, which is another funny thing. I would never eat at a gay bar in the US. Like people eating meals and carbs at a bar? Okay. And one of the ones that was my favorite was this place called Telephone Bar because it had been around since the 80s. It's a really
Mhm.
old bar for Thai standards. And they actually had a telephone on each table back then. And you could pick it up and call someone at the other tables, which were numbered, if you wanted to like talk and flirt with them. I know. Isn't that like cute? I kind of want a telephone bar these days.
How does it work? Like you type.
Well,
So you know the number of the other table. Do they know who's ringing them?
so according to an expat friend of mine who's been in Thailand since the 90s, he says, yes, there were a telephone at every table, and you would ask a waiter to help you who would pass you like a number, I think on a little card, of the phones on the other tables, and then you could call them. And it's not a huge bar either. So also imagine, if you will, the funny just sense of like someone calling someone who's like 20 feet away at another cocktail table. But apparently that's what it was. That's where it got the name from. And this is in the 80s in Bangkok. So like HIV is totally crazy and out of control. It was even for most of the 90s as it got a little more under control in other parts of the world. So that's another thing actually about the owner. The owner of that bar did a lot of HIV outreach and work in Bangkok and was in connection with the American Embassy. The American Embassy in Bangkok for a long time sponsored a free HIV clinic that I would also go to sometimes for getting tested. So it was a place where they also kind of were thinking of the community. Anyways, yes, I love Telephone Bar. And like I said, each place had its own little niche. And the niche of Telephone Bar was that it was mostly older foreign men going to meet younger local guys. I did not fit in essentially at that bar, which is oddly why I liked it, because I would go there if my friends were late, and my friends were always late. So I would go hang out. The older gentlemen there generally wouldn't talk to me because they're looking for a
Mm-hmm.
local guy. And the younger local guys there, the Thai guys, wouldn't really talk to me either because they're looking more for like a daddy or like an
Yeah.
international guy, like an older guy.
Yeah.
And we can debate on if it was a financial thing or not. I don't know. I didn't worry about it too much because I would go there. I knew the bartenders. Everyone left me alone. Sometimes I got free beer and the food was really good. So I would hang out at this place until my friends would get there because I would feel comfortable sitting there and chatting with the bartender or just sitting by myself and having a drink and listening to the music. And that doesn't happen at a lot of other gay bars. I would never do that in the US. I wouldn't go to a gay bar alone because it's sometimes it can be kind of like a bit of an assault almost. Like there's an expectation to like look really hot, look a certain way, be with a group of friends,
Mm-hmm.
look at you with everyone around you. And there were no expectations there, or at least the expectations, I wasn't hitting anyone, so I could just hang out on the side. And that's what I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, this is why I love going to lesbian bars because it's like no
Yeah.
one's looking at you, no
The
one's
pressure's off.
yeah, the
Yeah.
pressure, but you can
Hmm.
also still feel comfortable and not feel like an
Yeah.
alien like you would in some straight bars, and you can just kind of like hang out and be like nosy.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it. So they closed after I'd moved to the US, and I was
Oh,
really bummed out about it. I went back there. I visited Thailand last summer for a couple of weeks after having been gone about a year. And it's now another bar. I think it's called Circus, but it's like different management as far as I can tell. Because I would see the owner there too. He'd usually pull up a table next to me and chat with me, or a chair. I think it's also kind of sad because for the communities it served, the group specifically, especially I think older men who live in Bangkok,
mm,
I think like that was their space. It was a space they could go and not feel like, oh, I'm surrounded by twinks in this club and I don't like this music. No one's paying attention to me here. Like if those men would be at, say, DJ Station, the big popular club in the other little alleyway, maybe no one would talk to them, or they would
yeah.
feel uncomfortable, or they would probably be a good 30 to 40 years older than most of the people there. So when it closed Telephone Bar, I felt for that group of people because it was a spot where they're seen and accounted for, and it's kind of like theirs, like they were the majority. And they had
Mm.
people that were interested in them there,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like get to experience that feeling of desire,
Yeah.
right?
And now the other bars, I have to do like small talk when I'm waiting for my friends that are late.
Oh no, how do you manage? What's your approach to small talk, first of all?
um, Small talk. Okay, so especially if I'm there, the first question is always, where are you from? And then
Okay,
you
yeah.
also decide, like, oh, is this going to be in English or in Thai? So if I really like someone or I think they're quite cute, I'll do it in Thai, because then they'll be like,
Showing
ooh, a little bit
off. Yeah,
impressed, and look at you, you
yeah.
must live here. So let's like talk some more. And then I would also tell people I'm from New York, which is a totally grandiose lie. It was New Jersey and it was like 3 months, but no one would know my hometown if I said it. That really disgusted my friends from back home. They're like, we cannot believe you tell people you're from New York. And then you just kind of bounce it off the other person. Sometimes it'll be really standard questions that you hear all the time, like, what are you doing here? Where are you from? But then sometimes people will throw you a curveball. Like, I remember teaching someone about Madonna once. He didn't know Madonna. It was a young gay,
What?
a couple years younger than me. He was like, who's Madonna? I was like, who's Madonna? So,
Oh no. Okay, so let's role play that because I want to understand what your approach was. I'll be the young gay, and you be you.
mhm.
Who's Madonna?
The Madge, the M, Miss M. You have to know Madonna. You
No,
know,
I don't know.
Vogue.
No, no. What's this?
This can't be okay. Duet with Justin Timberlake. Ramen hair. No, not working. And I would like name off songs and
That's
like
your
hum them.
go-to. The terrible song with Justin Timberlake. What?
Okay, okay. The 80s were good too. And the new album's not bad. I like it. But yes, we had a moment where someone didn't know about Madonna. But then, guys would ask me stuff and be like, oh, I don't know who that is. But I have an excuse. What's your excuse?
And so, what was your what was the weirdest thing to happen at a bar when you were there?
Okay, weirdest thing. It's two parts. So I went on a date with this guy. We went to an Isan bar. Isan is the region of Thailand close to Laos. It's kind of countryside and has a lot of its own customs. And
Hmm.
it's also very like draggy and gay. Like they were doing shows on the bar with all these, big Vegas style headdresses. So we're doing that. That's the first part of the night. That in itself was a bit odd. We leave the bar. He gets in a fight with police officers. He claims that he's in the mafia. He says this to me while we're in a taxi together. I'm a little nervous, but he's really hot, so we let it go. And then
I'm picking up a pattern here. Yeah.
danger. My husband is so dreadfully undangerous, but I guess that's good for the long term. So then we go to the second bar of the night. It's a gay bar. It's since also closed, and it was mostly like really young Thai guys, no foreigners. Like as far as the eye can see, it's not even like the central area of town. No music in English, nothing. So me,
Uh-huh.
I'm just like living my little like fantasy white boy experience. So I'm doing that. I'm with him, and I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I go to the bathroom, approach the urinal, do my thing, and then suddenly behind me, I just feel like fingers like meeting into my neck. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you can't just approach someone who has once lived in Jersey, like behind them without seeing them in a bathroom. So
Especially when they're
I,
midstream.
it's awful. It was midstream. It threw the stream off. So then I turn around and it's this like older woman. And then I look around and there's another guy peeing next to me and an older guy behind him. And I started saying in Thai, like, oh, that's okay. I don't need it. Like, no, thank you, that kind of thing. And then I like zipped up. I don't even think I finished the job, washed my hands and left. I go talk to my friend. I was like, there's like some really weird, I think like sexual, like hookup stuff happening in the bathroom, but it's like an older couple massaging people. He's like, oh, that's like a bathroom massage. He's like, you just say it so candidly. What is a bathroom massage? So apparently, at some places, as an extra little service, literally while you're urinating, someone will come up and knead the back of your neck. Give you like a little neck and upper back massage for, I guess, I mean, I can pee in like 45 seconds. I'm not sure how long these massages are supposed to be. And then you turn around, give them like some tip, wash your hands, I'll like squirt the soap for you, and then you go.
What if
Yes.
you're pee shy?
Oh, that goes out the window. In Thailand, usually women clean men's rooms and they don't just go in to clean it, they hang out there all day. Like they'll play on their phone when they're not actually cleaning or chat with another woman in the bathroom.
But what if you don't even pee at the urinal? Like, what do they offer you if you're going into the cubicle? What's
So
the...
this is the question. What happens if you go in the cubicle? I never found out. And despite all the Thai food running through me, I never really had to go number two at the bar. But
Stick your feet out from
I could
underneath the
find
stool,
out.
maybe.
And then like an old lady like sticks her foot back and then she comes in and massages you. I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
was expecting her to massage your feet from the other side of the stall. What kind of weirdo are you?
I didn't like just like swing the door and let her in. She's got a friend, they both come. It's a forehand massage. So that was weird. I did not like that and did not pee at that bar for the rest of the night. And I have to pee a lot when I start
Um,
drinking. So that was a thing.
so annoying. So annoying when there's someone inside the toilet that's like
Yes.
doing the soaps or giving you
Yeah, I
colognes
hate
and things,
that.
and you're
Like I
like,
will
ah,
handle
I don't
that.
want to go to the toilet because I don't want to have to say no to you and then like have to tip you anyway, even though I don't want to take your
No.
services. Ugh,
Yeah, that was
gross.
odd. So that's the weirdest thing. That was strange. They'll never do that at any place that foreigners go to. It's a very, very Thai local thing. And that was the vibe of the bar we were at. So
Mm.
most people will not experience that. You have to go back into the cut to get that. But that's where I was that night. So
Oh, yeah. And the whole thing about at what point you tip them. Do you tip them before you wash your hands?
well, I did it literally on the short walk from the stall to the sink. Because I was like, oh, you did something? Okay, you get it right now. So I turned around, gave her like 20 baht, which is like, it's the first time money that's on a bill. It's like 60 cents. So I gave her that and then washed my hands and left. And this was also in a flurry of me saying, like, no, I'm okay. It's okay. No, thank you.
Get your hands off me.
Mind you, would be totally okay if it was like some like really hot strapping guy, then I would have been okay with it. But like, it's because it was like this granny. I mean, good for her. That's like her thing.
But she
But
has like a whole bunch of money that's just covered in pee stains.
I guess so. She had
Oh,
like a fanny pack, and she would put them all in the fanny pack.
oh, gross.
Is this like a mom fantasy thing? Like you're comforting me when I'm going out? Are people thinking like, oh, just like home? Like I don't know. What are people thinking when this happens? I don't know. Um,
Oh yeah, we don't want to get into
yeah.
that. Uh, and so my assumption is, and do correct me if I'm wrong, that when you met the man that would become your husband, you stopped going out.
You're right. I kind of did. I did. Or I should say a lot less because we did not meet out at a bar. We met on Grindr, incidentally, which goes to show it is what you make of it. So we met there. He was talking to multiple guys at the time and put me on the back burner. I as well, to be fair. We were both of each other's like last option. Like be like, want to meet maybe like next week. We eventually arranged to meet. Our first date was at a mall. This big, huge mega
At
mall
a
with like 10
mall?
floors.
What?
No, you got to get me. It was a
Okay.
10-floor mall. It had Thailand's only Apple store. Oh, wait, I forget if the Apple store was open then, which is a big deal. And it is good. It had tropical palm courtyards inside. There are like these pretty cute girls who wear like mini skirts and like promote products outside. I don't know why that's interesting, but it was. I loved it. Like they get on mics and have these big eyelashes, and I think they had wigs sometimes too. They'd be like trying to like sell like I don't know a facial cream. The mall is really where it's at in Bangkok because again it's like 90 degrees on a good day, and there's a rainy season half the year.
Mhm.
So we went there. We went to a chicken wing and rib restaurant.
But okay, so but was this in a food court or did you actually
No,
go
it was
into
its
a
own
restaurant?
sit-down
Oh, okay,
restaurant.
romantic.
Oh yeah, like the malls would have like 2 or 3 floors of just sit-down restaurants. So yeah, it was a level above food court. Although I'm not going to knock a Thai food court. I will eat a bowl of noodles for $1 and enjoy it.
No, okay, no. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is this was a date. Like,
It was a
and
date.
food court is
Okay.
maybe not appropriate.
Not a date, not a date, which makes me feel bad about the 2 or 3 times I did have food court dates.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So we loved it. We were there, and I remember like he paid for the meal, which was really awesome. It's not something I was used to with like when I would meet people there. That was like a very nice gesture, I remember. And we're eating like ribs and chicken wings. So it's like dirty and there's like barbecue sauce on our faces, and I loved it. So like as opposed to like some you can like really neatly eat with like chopsticks or like a fork and a knife and something. It's like, all right, this guy's like gonna get saucy. I like it. So
An indication of what's to come.
and I ended up holding his hand a little bit later. Like,
Aw.
yeah, I did. We were walking around this mall because after dinner we went around to some shops and stuff. And I started like reaching out to his hand, and which is very unlike me. Like that's even a no-go in Asia too. Like you don't hold someone's hand on a first date. What's wrong with you?
And that's not a gay thing. That's like the etiquette is not to move so fast so soon.
I was thinking, like, from my perspective, like, not to scare someone away. Like, don't be so
Uh, bold.
bold and lovey-dovey and touchy on the first date. Like, it's a little bit of this, like, leftover residual, like, don't show too much interest.
Yeah. But there was no kind of shame around homosexuality.
No,
holding
I
hands in
feel
public.
safer holding his hand in Bangkok than I do in New York.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
totally.
okay.
You can hold hands, that's fine. Sometimes friends hold hand in Thailand. You'll see that in a lot of Asian and Middle Eastern countries.
Yeah.
Kissing, not so much. It's still kind of conservative in that sense. But like people don't have a problem with anyone being gay. There aren't many legal protections. So like that's one of the reasons we moved back. We wanted to get married and we couldn't get married there.
Mhm.
So it's almost like whereas a place like the US or like the Netherlands or Germany might have really high legal rights,
Yeah.
Thailand has very high social acceptance, but not really any legal rights.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no issue with that. And his mom too knows about us. And like other people would say, "Oh, there's your son's friend." She would correct them. No, that's his boyfriend. And this is a woman in like a small village in the countryside. So it really kind of goes out to every part of the country except for the south a little bit.
Okay. Oh, we won't focus on the South. So,
Okay.
what made you so bold as to take his hand that night then?
I think because we were laughing so much. His English was great, so we could like things that can be tricky there with someone who English is their second language, like irony or sarcasm. Like he was getting all of that. We knew the same singers. Like for example, there's this really raunchy American sexual rapper named Cupcake. Pretty cool. You should check her out. He knew her. I was like, "What? You know Cupcake?" And now we're back in the U.S. So we want to go see one of her concerts together. It's gonna be like our first date all over again. So I felt a great connection, and I was just so excited, and I wanted to like really keep hanging on to this person and see where it could go. Yeah, so we dated the last 3 years I lived in Thailand, and now we've been in the U.S. About a year and a half.
So, did you know?
No, I think I was so used to things not working out And also at the time I met him, I knew in my head that I would probably leave Thailand in a year or two. I was getting towards like the end of my stay. I was like, all right, I'm feeling kind of like been there, done that, and I'm ready to go back, which affected our relationship because he was like, I really like you, but I'm not going to get serious about you if you're probably leaving. And that was what kind of jet blasted us to make the pretty big decision to get married because we were like, well, if we want to continue this relationship, you would have to move back to the US with me. I'm probably not going to stay here any longer. So yeah, we have to get married. So there's no like fairy tale moment where I was on one knee on the sidewalk. Wouldn't want to do that in Bangkok anyways. They have like disgusting cockroaches there. So not on the knees, but it was more like a conversation, which is I think how a proposal should be. A proposal should be a conversation because it's two people entering into a thing.
Yeah, but you can do both.
You can do both, but we didn't. So we had to talk. We're like, all right, we'll get married. We'll fill out all the paperwork and we'll do the next chapter. So here we are now. We've been in the US for a while. He really likes it. But I think once we made that decision, it was like, oh, it's really serious now. I'm planning on moving back to a different country with this person. So at that point I knew, but that was about a year and a half in or so.
How many minor meltdowns did you have in that period?
Oh, gosh, minor. And there were big ones too. We would have meltdowns. And then like COVID was happening too. So then we were in my tiny apartment together, both working from home, which I think COVID was such a relationship test for a lot of people. If you could make that, then you were good, especially two people in a 1-bedroom apartment. So we did. We worked it out. We would have arguments, but I would often say he was kind of the least Thai person I dated. Like, he doesn't really listen to a lot of Thai music or movies. He's always on time for everything. Thai people are often stylishly late.
Shade.
Shade. I mean, there's tons of excuses, but he worked for a company where he was often speaking in English too. I think he was really used to being around foreigners, and that made it easier for me. Also, there weren't many family obligations. You know, a lot of times in Thailand, when you're dating someone, you're dating their family too. Their mom, dad, their brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles. I didn't get that sense from him. We went out once to the village and I met his mom. I ate her cooking. It was amazing. She had like a really thick, like Thai Laotian accent because that's where he's from. But I had 5 bowls of her food. She liked that. Yeah, it worked out well. In the end, you have to make a lot of compromise.
So then if you could go back in time and come face to face with the Ben that had just rocked up in Thailand, was jet lagged, about to go out with these men and fall hard for one of them, what words of advice would you give him?
I would say keep doing everything you're doing, except don't go home with people outside the club late at night. That's really bad. Don't do that. But yes, eat all the crazy, ridiculous food and meet all the people and, you know, keep having the courage to like chat with people when you're there. Just go up to someone and say hi and see what they say back. It was a great opportunity to kind of let some pretenses down. I didn't have to try to be really interesting or cooler than I think I am or anything like that. That was good. It was really healthy. And make the most of it while you're there. And I kind of did do that, so I'm glad I did. I think I got so much out of being there. And then in the end, I got like the best souvenir. Like I got to come back with a person who puts up with me. So
You don't call him a souvenir, do you?
He's cute and cuddly. I can't. Okay, no.
He's not on a keychain, though. I mean,
he's not on a keychain. I'd be really scared if he was, but.
Do you have any memories of Telephone Bar, the scene in Bangkok, or, forgetting all of that, clubbing from your own queer scene that you want to share? Well, if you do, I would love to hear all about it. I want to create the biggest online record of people's memories and stories of queer clubbing, and I need your help. Go to lostspacespodcast.com and find the section Share a Lost Space to tell me all about what it is you got up to. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where my handle is Lost Spaces Pod. And whilst you're at it, go find out some more about Ben by following him on Instagram at language.fan. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate if you subscribed, left a review on your podcast platform, or just told other people who you think might be interested in giving it a little listen too. My name is Kay Anderson, and you have been listening to Lost Spaces.